Welcome, testing, 1, 2, testing. Welcome to Dorothy Laver West Reserve. Well, after a week away, NPLW football is back for round 12 action. Dorothy Laver West Reserve is the venue as Alamein Football Club look to take their opportunity to go second on the NPLW ladder. They host FV Academy this afternoon, an FV Academy team who will have a good mood going through the group at the minute, having picked up a massive 3 points in their last competitive outing against Bentley Greens a couple of weeks ago. We've had a bye since then, Alamein enduring one of their less enjoyable spells of the 2025 season after what's been an incredibly impressive first few months under John Kyrgios. Oscar Rutherford with you for this afternoon's contest. Fourth place Alamein at the start of the weekend, 5th place at the start of this afternoon's game, looking to go up into second against an FV Academy team who start the weekend down in 11th spot, but with plenty of opportunity for upwards mobility if they're able to string together a few positive results. Alamein have made just the one change to their lineup for this afternoon's game from the 0-0 draw that they had with Spring Hills just before the bye. It's a change in goal as well, as Kate Bean returns to the starting 11. For Alamein, though, the big inclusions come on the bench. They've made their move already with a couple of mid-season recruits. Playing back up to Kate Bean this afternoon is Miranda Templeman, coming in from an A-League women's season with the Perth Glory, alongside a big return, the name of Ash Lefebvre back here at Dorothy Laver West. She's starting on the bench this afternoon. Very much an Alamein legend, having spent the first half of the season at Bentley Greens. And joining Ash Lefebvre, Anna Koppoulis also making the switch up a little bit north to Alamein for the second half of the campaign. Our referee's whistle has us underway. It will be the hosts who get play started. For FV Academy, meanwhile, well, fair to say that their team has been significantly shaken up by some early transfers in the mid-season window, both incomings and outgoings. They've made 4 changes to their starting 11 for this afternoon's game. Into the team come Gracie Clarkson and Jasmine Miller, alongside 2 of their big mid-season recruits in Poppy O'Keefe and Emily Rutkowski. O'Keefe making her return to the FV Academy team, whilst Rutkowski making her bow in these colours, both of those players having spent the A-League campaign with Melbourne Victory. And as much as they are some fantastic inclusions, which will certainly bolster the FV Academy team, that's come at the expense of some big outgoings as well. Annie Yates, Eva Gutsmith, Amelia Tartaglia, all players in the matchday squad last time out who are no longer at FV Academy. They've moved on to different teams in the NPLW competition alongside Eva Kokotis. Annie Yates may be the biggest loss of all amongst those names. She's been an ever-present in the FV Academy backline for the last number of seasons. She's made her move to Berlin. Gutsmith and Kokotis heading to South Melbourne, whilst Amelia Tartaglia heads in the direction that Leah Koppoulis and Lefebvre, from which they came, back to Bentley Greens. But all those changes coming in regardless. It's 3 points on the line this afternoon. FV Academy looking to move further away from the foot of the table, having of course gotten that 4-2 win against Bentley Greens just prior to the bye. Alamein, meanwhile, who, as mentioned, have been so impressive this campaign, certainly exceeded the expectations of almost every person on the outside looking in, but have endured one of their rougher patches of the season over the last month or so. That ball's been kept in play just about by Rutkowski. Cross came in and Alamein there to deal with it. This is Emma Runnels now. Manages to play it off her opponent for the throw for Alamein. Zoe Houghton into Runnels. Loses out and looking to carry it in the opposite direction was Jasmine Miller. But Alamein will be allowed to regain possession. Alamein coming into today having won just one of their last 4 league outings, including dropping points in the last couple of games against Bentley Greens and Spring Hills. Clemenson with the cross inside, well fisted clear by Charlotte for Horrison. It's back towards the goalkeeper. And eventually FV Academy do enough to clear. We'll just run through the full starting 11s for both teams for you. In goal for Alamein, Kate Bean. Number 2, Estelle Burgess. Number 3, Chinatsu Shidara. Number 4, Manny Van Duren. 5, Jess Shilton. 6, Dakota Tyson. 7, Savannah Anastasopoulos. 8, Paige Clemenson. 9, Emma Runnels. 11, Zoe Houghton. And 21 is Neve Dustin. The Academy now making their way forward down the right flank. Cross inboard, looking for the head of Kaya Jugovic. Doesn't pick out the teammate though. For FV Academy, as mentioned, in goal is Charlotte Horrison with a bit of a milestone this afternoon, her 50th NPLW appearance. Clever turn again from Jugovic, who's met by Shilton, and it'll be an FV Academy corner. The rest of the team for the youngsters: number 5, Jay Tam, 8, Chelsea Biggs, 10, Kaya Jugovic, 13, Anika Doveston, 14, Fiorina Iaria, 15, Gracie Clarkson, 17, Poppy O'Keefe, 18, Jasmine Miller, 19, Clancy Westaway, and number 21, Emily Rutkowski. And it's Jade Tam charged with the responsibility of heading on over to deliver this corner. Ball sent in, it's got plenty of height and found its way to the other side of the box. Fortunately for FV Academy, Miller not able to turn it towards goal. So Kate Bean will get us back underway for Alamein. Indeed, she'll leave it for Chinatsu Shidara to hoof it upfield. Looking for Runnels. Pops out towards Biggs, ball sent back forward. Bean off her line, attempting to clear it, but it only cannoned into Miller. So it's a fine result in the end for Alamein, but just a slightly risky moment, and you see Miller a little bit worse for wear as a result. Central referee Shab Sabin looking to ensure that the players all good to continue. Shab Sabin assisted this afternoon by Emma Borchman and Natalie Finlay as the 2 assistant referees, whilst Harper Rackham is our 4th official. Shidara happy to see the ball out for another Alamein throw as the hosts look to get out of their half, where the majority of the game has been spent in the opening minutes of this contest. It's been a strong start for FV Academy as they continue to pretty relentlessly apply the pressure on their hosts. Throw sent forward, I think, by Biggs. Alamein will once again get the chance to try play their way out from defence. This is Clemenson. It's a clever touch to skip away from Rutkowski. Looks to send the ball inboard. Met by Tam, eventually falls out to Rutkowski again. And Alamein will get the chance to apply some pressure of their own. Captain Estelle Burgess in towards Emma Runnels. Falls out towards Dustin. Runnels looking back in towards the American recruit for Alamein this season. These two teams did meet in the first round of the season, and that was where Neve Dustin very much marked her rival with an impressive goal on the opening day. A 2-0 win for Alamein at the home of the Matildas, that result. Goals for Dustin and Houghton, setting them up for a really strong first half of the campaign. Kowski looking inboard. O'Keefe happy to use Clarkson. Runnels now for Alamein. Hoping for Clemenson. Kowski had to be alert and used her body intelligently. Burgess winning it back for Alamein. Now Dustin retreats to Shadara, but well read by Doveston. This is Kaya Jugovic, and a crunching challenge comes in from Jess Shilton. Has been, though, a good opening 10 minutes for FV Academy. Very much the underdogs heading into this afternoon's game, not only based on the ladder position of the two teams, but especially when you consider some of the big losses that they've had in mid-season, FV. Just in terms of the personnel, I mentioned at the start of the call. Westaway turning one way then the other. Did well to work her way out of a tight area and wins her team a throw on that far side. Spread by Doveston out to Jugovic. Cross inside, looking to pick out a teammate's head. It falls to the feet of Westaway. Lashed her shot well wide of the post. Certainly not been a comfortable opening for Alamein. It's a big weekend of football in NPLW Victoria. Round 12, of course, had the couple of games last night where both Bulleen and Preston dropped points. Bulleen drawing at Box Hill, whilst Preston suffering a shock defeat at home to Spring Hills. Spring Hills team who are all of a sudden looking like quite the scary prospect in this division. But it does mean that with those teams who you'd expect to be competing for honours at the back end of the season dropping more points, it opens the door even wider for someone like Alamein. A win today leapfrogging Bulleen, South Melbourne and Boroondara. Boroondara, though, still to play later this afternoon in really the game of the round against Heidelberg. That game up at Olympic Village, kicking off in an hour or so. As for FV Academy, any point today will lift them ahead of Bentley Greens, albeit the Greens still to play tomorrow at Lakeside. Back-to-back games picking up points would do a world of good, you'd imagine, for this FV Academy outfit. Jade Tam over this dead ball, lofts it towards the penalty area. Runnels back helping out with the defence. Westaway is quickly closed down. Biggs loses out to Houghton. Dustin loses her footing at the crucial moment, but draws a foul from the referee's whistle. Well, maybe not from the referee's whistle, but draws the referee's whistle with the foul. Alamein charging forward. Dustin pulls the trigger. Right down the throat of Horison. Opts to play short to Rutkowski. Now Doveston. The pass was impeded by Shilton, but it worked out okay in the end for Academy. Good first touch from West away. Shidara there to clear, now Van Duren. Hoping to release Houghton, but Biggs alert to the danger. Clarkson looking inboard, finds O'Keefe. Clever exchange between O'Keefe and Jugovic, who now cuts inboard. Met by the challenge of Shilton. And the final touch comes off O'Keefe. So Alamein will get the chance to restart play. That win last time out for FE Academy, a 4-2 win against Bentley Greens. A couple of fantastic goals scored as well that afternoon, including by Kaya Jugovic. Chelsea Biggs, the other player, who scored from an unlikely position. Now the FE Academy will get another crack from a similar position to what we saw about 2 minutes ago. Jade Tam to deliver. That time gets over the head of Runnels and finds the feet of Fiorina Iaria. Another one of the goal scorers last time out. Retreats to Biggs. Looks inboard, met by Shilton. At the second bite of the cherry, got it clear. O'Keefe losing out to Dustin. Now Houghton going for the header. It's FE Academy though, who once again proved to be resourceful both with and without the ball. Doing a good job making life uncomfortable in these opening minutes. This is of course the challenge though for a team like FE Academy. We know that when things go well, they're very difficult to contend with. But are they able to sustain that over the course of 90 minutes, let alone a season or large stretches of the season? Just the 2 wins to their name so far this season. Alongside that win against Bentley Greens earlier on in the campaign, winning away at Spring Hills. Just a bit of concern as we have a brief pause in play to check in on Gracie Clarkson, who's going to get some medical treatment, perhaps to deal with some blood coming from the nose. So for now, FE Academy will have to play with 10. Throw in towards Clemenson. Sends it back to Dustin. Shilton out to Bujus. Looking inboard, cut out by O'Keefe. Now Anika Doveston plays it back to Tam. It's Alamein's turn to apply the press. FE Academy under the cosh, very nearly giving away possession. That was a smart use of the body though by Doveston. Just blocking off Runnels and drawing the referee's whistle. Biggs looking outwards towards Iaria. Back to Biggs. Anastasiopoulos wins it back for Alamein. Looking to Houghton. This is Van Duren. Cross blocked by think that the first order of business for Alamein would be to just spend a little bit of an extended spell in the FV Academy half, which they haven't been able to manufacture as of yet. And nor will they now, as Daveston spreads it to Iaria, who continues her run down the right flank. Ball just narrowly out of her reach as it goes out past the byline. Ugovic met by Bujus. This is Clemenson, again hoping to release Houghton. And they were stung a couple of times by the quick Houghton runs in behind the defence when these teams met in the opening game of the season. And they look to be well aware of the danger this afternoon, FV Academy. Jade Tam again well positioned and racing back to send the ball away. Bujus did well. Gets past another, but that was clever from O'Keefe, playing it off her opponent for an FV Academy goal kick. It's of course not the only NPLW fixture taking place at this time, the concurrent kickoff out at Cross Keys Reserve on the other side of town. Essendon Royals hosting Brunswick Juventus. And that's a game with ramifications for the teams on the pitch in front of us this afternoon. Of course, Royals, another one of those teams who haven't quite been able to fire on all cylinders as of yet this season, but could close to within as little as 1 point of Alamein if results go their way this afternoon, the Royals. Clemenson's offside. Meanwhile, the Royals' opponents, Brunswick Juventus, of course, the one team currently below FV Academy on the ladder. And we do have an early change coming, and it's a disappointment for Gracie Clarkson. An earlier incident forcing her out of the game early on. But it presents an opportunity for Alice Francu, who will come into the game perhaps a little bit earlier than anticipated. Francu, though, who's been a regular contributor to this academy team this season. See what that means in terms of any reshuffle of positions for Santi Escudero and his team. This is Francu trying to play it forward. Gave it away to Van Duren, but made amends very quickly. And FV Academy again have themselves a throw. Runnels trying to be clever. Had that gotten through, Houghton would have been in a really good position on goal. Once again, the FV Academy is meeting all the tasks that they've been set. As if a handball there called against Neve Dustin. Biggs out to Franku. Govic did well to send it forward to Doveston. And that's a strong release for Clemenson. Clemenson through on goal, goes across the goalkeeper. It's a brilliant finish. Paige Clemenson rifles it into the bottom corner. And having had to deal with a lot of early pressure, it's Alamein who have the lead. Well, they don't need much of a look in to hurt you. Case in point there, Paige Clemenson. A wonderful finish. Not a whole lot Charlotte Horrison could do about it. It was past her by the time she'd blinked. And so it's Alamein. We now have something to defend. Something that they've been very good at this season, the defensive side of things. They've got the equal stingiest defence in the competition alongside Boleyn. Just the 11 goals conceded in their 11 games. So for FV Academy, they'll need to find a way to break their opponents down if they are to get something from this afternoon's contest. Shidara doesn't perhaps make ideal contact with that clearing ball. Shilton bundles over Doveston, who's industrious in her attempts to win back the ball. And eventually Estelle Burgess gets it clear of the danger zone. Kowski with the throw. Finds Franku, the substitute, Alice Franku. FV Academy a level. Just a couple of minutes after going behind. And it's the early substitute, Alice Franku, who pulls her team back to 1-1. A clever snap finish, catching the goalkeeper flat-footed. And we are right back where we started. Fair to say that this game has burst into life in the last couple of minutes. A goal at either end. There's that wonderful finish across goal from Paige Clemenson. And then a really smart finish from the early substitute, Alice Franku, who has taken her opportunity, having been subbed into the game to replace the injured Gracie Clarkson. Westaway has a number of opponents surrounding her and once more shows her skill on the ball to escape and draw the foul. 1-2 attempted by Iaria. Estelle Burgess was expecting it though. Iaria for O'Keefe. Rutkowski from a long way out. That one never especially likely to trouble Kate Bean. Probably fair to say that a level scoreline is the least that FV Academy deserve for their efforts thus far. They've more than matched their more fancied opponents up to this point in the game. Tyson closed down by O'Keefe, but got rid of it first time. Jugovic plays it back to Tam, who looks across towards Biggs. Goal scorer Franku there to stop it from going out of play. Trying to skip away was Miller, unsuccessfully. Ball over the top, trying to send away Anastasopoulos, but the offside flag was raised from the moment the ball was played. Mentioned that defensive record for Alamein, just the 11 goals from 11 games heading into this afternoon's contest. That's of course now up to 12 from 12. That defensive solidity, very much the foundation of their successes so far this season. Academy again looking into the penalty area. For Alamein, they're the team who scored the fewest goals out of any team in the top 8, so that being any team but the bottom 4 teams. Been the quantity of goals that have got Alamein their wins. It's been the effectiveness of them. They've made the most of the leads that they've had this season. Compare that to FV Academy, who came in today having scored just a couple goals fewer than Alamein, despite the 12-point gap on the ladder between the teams. That difference very much made up when looking at the other end. FV Academy, the leakiest defence by far in NPLW this season. That goal for Paige Clemenson, the 36th that FV Academy have conceded, so going at a rate of 3 a game in NPLW this campaign. At the wrong end for FV Academy. As we saw against Bentley, they are capable of outscoring their opponents and getting wins that way. Now they're looking for what could be a crucial third goal of this game. This is Rutkowski. Makes some space on her right, goes from a long way out as well. It was a tricky one to handle for Kate Bean, and indeed it spills behind for a corner. That's a couple of times this afternoon we've seen Emily Rutkowski just work her way into a bit of space and pulling the trigger with her right boot. Add that to the list of attacking threats that FE Academy possess. Tam to deliver the corner again. That one has too much on it though, and it'll roll harmlessly out for an Alamein throw. Doveston loses out to Runnels. Now Houghton still carrying the ball forward. Rutkowski met by Tyson. Now Anastasopoulos. Or eventually it's FV Academy who send it clear through Biggs. Iaria and Doveston with the 1-2. Fiorina Iaria in on goal, gets the shot away. Across the face. Franku not in the position to turn it home. So we end up in the same place that we started that move, with an Alamein throw near that corner flag. Hasn't quite been able to pose her usual threat in this first half, Fiorina Iaria, but moving over to this left-hand side, saw there what she's capable of. Clemenson hoping for Houghton. And again, Tam's well positioned. Horace came to bring an end to the chance, but it snuck underneath her. So really from nothing, Alamein have themselves a corner opportunity. Both goalkeepers, you'd say, have been quite heavily involved in the action in this first 45, and maybe a bit of that incessant pressure showing at either end. It'll be Dustin for Alamein. The corner routine, you see the players getting ready to charge into the area. Finds the head of Runnels. Well blocked away, and Dustin will get a second crack at it. That's a better delivery. Finds Runnels again. Maybe hitting the number 9's arm on the way down, but it's a moot point, as Charlotte Horrison claims. And FE Academy escape with the scoreline still level. Kowski cut out by Shilton. It's clever from Anastasopoulos. Eventually, though, the numbers paid off for FE Academy. Seen plenty of turnovers in the middle of the park from both teams. It's a high intensity, high pressure game. Iaria's cross inside is a good one. Met by the head of Miller. Just unable to get sufficient contact to direct it towards goal. That a really good look for the Academy team. Iaria causing plenty of headaches for the Alamein defence down this left-hand side now. Who just goes cross-field. Really has been a breathless first 45. Neither team giving the other an inch. And whenever they've got the ball, they're charging forward. You see that on display once more as the FE Academy players throw their body, trying to win back the ball. And in the end, Charlotte Horrison goes safety first and sends it up to the halfway line. So FE Academy will be allowed to restart play as an offside flag, which has been a real thorn in Alamein's side this first half, is once again raised. Attempted clearing header from Shilton, only to the feet of Doveston, who spreads it now to Iaria. Fiorina Iaria once again looking to round Burgess. Looks inboard with the pass to Westaway, now Rutkowski. Back to Doveston, trying to lob the goalkeeper. Anika Doveston. Well, it was difficult to tell from our angle whether maybe that had snuck in underneath the crossbar. Thankfully, from an Alamein perspective, it had a little bit too much height on it. Anika Doveston very nearly giving FE Academy the lead for the first time this afternoon. Do you wonder, as we near the half-time break, how the substitutions may impact this game, especially from an Alamein perspective, when you look at the calibre of player they've got. Of course, Lefebvre and Leokopoulos, the two mid-season recruits, maybe more renowned for their defensive capabilities than going forward, but nonetheless have both proven in their NPL careers that they're more than capable of contributing at the attacking end of the play. Leokopoulos in particular started the season on a surprisingly hot scoring streak. This is Van Duren, gets it out to Anastasiopoulos. Pass finds its way all the way through to Zoe Houghton, who's got the pace to get past, gets the shot away, and Zoe Houghton gives Alamein back the lead. A wonderful run. She showed off her pace, and the finish to match. Once again across the goalkeeper into the bottom corner. And once more, it's Alamein in control of this contest. So with just a handful of minutes remaining until the half-time break, FE Academy once again find themselves trailing their hosts, hoping maybe for another instant response as we saw after the first goal. They'll need to come quick if they are to get back level before half-time though. Hoping to kickstart the second FE Academy response. Biggs out to Westaway. Runnels there to win back possession for Alamein. The end result there is an Academy throw. Houghton's touchdown into feet of Westaway. Academy scramble the ball clear as far as Shadara. This lofted ball is awkward to deal with for Rutkowski. Clemenson looking to take advantage. Unable to stop it from rolling out for a throw. That goal for Zoe Houghton means that she's scored now in both meetings between these teams. Did a pretty good job in the opening stages of this game, FE Academy, at keeping tabs on the number 11 for Alamein. Her pacey runs in behind. It's so awkward to deal with. And despite doing a good job early on, they've eventually been exposed by Houghton's run. That goal, Houghton's 4th of the campaign. Chance here though for FE Academy as they win the ball back in a dangerous spot. Chance for Miller. Goes the patient approach back to West away. Now O'Keefe. Her shot well blocked by Dustin, and Alamein get the ball clear at least initially. That's a fairly clear-cut foul by Emma Runnels. And so Academy will take the opportunity to pile bodies forward as they try to find a second equaliser of the afternoon before we get to half-time. O'Keefe out towards Iaria. Fiorina Iaria. Obviously Shilton has physical advantage and she used it well to shepherd the ball behind for an Alamein goal kick. And it looks as if, despite having been sternly tested in this first 45, it will be Alamein who get to the break in front. Maybe looking to grab a third as Houghton sends it towards Clemenson. Rutkowski will have to be strong. That's really good goalkeeping from Charlotte Horrison. Clemenson a little bit worse for wear as a result, as is the goalkeeper. The two legs clashing. Horrison made a genuine attempt to get to the ball. That's why there was no penalty call. You can see unfortunate point of contact has left both players worse for wear. See the medical staff of both teams out on the pitch and attending to their respective players. And of course, wait and see how serious the damage is for both players, both Clemenson and Horrison. Certainly neither looking especially comfortable right at the minute. Well, probably the right decision as our referee Shab Saban blows the half-time whistle, so we have reached the halfway stage of this game. Both players will continue to be assessed, you'd think, throughout the half-time break, and we'll see as we come out for the second 45 if either or indeed both are able to continue. And for now, we'll head to the break at Dorothy Labour West Reserve with Alamein, who have the lead in this one after really strong showing from FE Academy, making life very uncomfortable for their hosts. It was Paige Clemenson who opened the scoring with a very clever finish across goal. FE Academy had it. Well, welcome back to Dorothy Labour West Reserve. Second half underway between Alamein and FV Academy. Alamein leading 2-1 after the first 45 minutes of action in what was a highly entertaining contest, and one in which both teams very much matching the other. It's an even affair, but Alamein who've got the better of the scoreline thus far. It does look as if there have been a couple of changes for John Kyrgios and his Alamein team at the break. Both Prid, Archdeacon and Ash Lefebvre looking to be on the park. Lefebvre making her return to Alamein, having spent the first half of the season at Bentley Greens. Now back to the club where she is, well, I don't think it's unfair to say, a legendary figure, just for the sheer number of appearances she's put together and the impact that she's had over an extended period of time. Good news is that both Paige Clemenson and Charlotte Frahorison are both back out on the park, having had that coming together at the end of the first 45, where they both were nursing leg injuries, but that hasn't been enough to force either out of the contest. And looks as if Manny Van Duren and Savannah Anastasopoulos are the two players who've been withdrawn to make way for Lefebvre and Archdeacon. That ball given away dangerously. The shot comes in from Houghton and sent into the path of Emma Runnels. Just didn't have her balance to get a clean shot away, and well, the concern has reared its head again for Charlotte Frahorison. Gave away that ball with the attempted clearance, and having scrambled to try and recover, once again doesn't look to be in the best position. So an early disruption to the second half. We'll see if Charlotte Frahorison is okay to continue. Not what Santi Escudero would be wanting to have to contend with, as his team look to work their way back into this contest. Once again, the goalkeeper looks as if she'll be attempting to soldier on. Play back underway, and FV Academy having to contend with some early attacking threat. This is Houghton, scorer of the second goal, looking out towards Clemenson, who had strayed offside. Clemenson and Houghton, the two scorers for Alamein in that opening half. There's Alice Francu for FV Academy, who had the goal in between those two. As mentioned, they were highly competitive in the first 45, FV Academy. Maybe the 2-1 scoreline, a little bit of a harsh reflection on what they put out. Of course, performance doesn't mean a whole lot if you're unable to capitalise on your opportunities or keep the opposition out at the other end. FV Academy will be hoping that they can replicate, I'd say, large parts of that first half performance. It would give them a reasonable opportunity of working their way back into this game as they make their first foray forward, which comes to a premature end. Of course, to the right of screen, looking into that sun setting, hopefully behind the trees in not too long. Awkward to deal with the players looking to attack in that direction. Shilton with the clearing ball out towards Clemenson. Underlapping run comes from the captain, Burgess. Her pass deflects off an opponent for a throw. That one falls to Iaria. Wasn't able to take the ball under her spell though. FV Academy will have to settle for a throw, which Emily Rutkowski heads on over to deliver. O'Keefe towing it back to Tam, who retreats to her goalkeeper. Horrison finds Biggs, who looks out towards Francu. Alamein looking to win the ball back high up the pitch. Lefebvre prevents it going behind for a goal kick. A little bit of confusion as to who would take it, but the end result is an FV Academy throw deep in their own half. Looking to find Miller, but Runnels was there. We've seen Emma Runnels using her superior physicality to win plenty of contests this afternoon. Here is Runnels again. Ball falls to the feet of Clemenson, out to Dustin. Just unable to take control of that pass. Attempted clearing ball towards Doveston, met by Shilton. Rutkowski will send it right back to the Kiwi defender for Alamein. Just a slip at an important moment, but Alamein will get away with it as they earn themselves a throw. This two-line scoreline holds. It will be very much in line with the recent history of meetings between these two teams, or indeed the entire history. It's one of the more lopsided head-to-heads that you'll find in NPLW Victoria. 22 meetings, 19 of them going the way of Alamein. That ball won back though by Archdeacon. Priya Archdeacon through one-on-one, finishes the chance, and Alamein make it 3-1. Archdeacon, the substitute, found herself through on goal, and a clinical finish to put the hosts in a commanding position in this second half. And for the second time this afternoon, a substitute has their name on the score sheet. And what was a substantial task for FV Academy has become even greater. Archdeacon scores her first goal of the campaign. And for Alamein, a team who haven't built their success off the back of a relentless goal-scoring effort. Already have 3 to their name this afternoon and will be looking to maybe add more to their tally. As right now their opponents are faltering somewhat, and Alamein will hope to press home their advantage, you'd think, with the game right now very much heading in their direction. That pass well cut out though by Jugovic, looking to send it forward, perhaps to release Iaria. Mentioned the game taking place at the same time as this one between Essendon Royals and Brunswick Juventus. That one got to half-time with the hosts there leading as well, 1-0 in favour of the Royals. So as things stand, FV Academy and Brunswick Juventus remaining rooted to the bottom two spots of the NPLW ladder, whilst Alamein will be jumping up into second position. Burundara just kicking off their game at Olympic Village against Heidelberg now, whilst the Royals will close the gap on the top four themselves. Something is getting very tight and contested in the top half of the NPLW ladder, as well as remaining very tense for the teams in the bottom four. Bottom four, which is increasingly looking like a bottom three, with Spring Hills picking up another 3 points last night. Throw up by Lefebvre to Archdeacon, falls to Shadara. Well, had that stayed in, Houghton would have been through on goal again, but thankfully for Academy, it rolls out for a throw. Lefebvre, that's clever, to get past Francu. Back to Shadara. Another chance for Academy's goal scorer, Alice Francu. Jugovic out to Rutkowski. Met by Bujus. He sends it out. Just when that Archdeacon goal was scored, was making the point about the 19 wins from 22 meetings that Alamein have had in this head-to-head. It's looking like a 20th from 23 as things stand. It would also be an 8th straight Alamein win against FV Academy. This is Houghton, through on goal. A chance for her second of the afternoon, and to just about seal the result, you'd think. Well blocked though. FV Academy escape with the door remaining slightly ajar. Some really strong defending on display from Chelsea Biggs, former Boleyn Junior, doing her work at the defensive end of the park this afternoon. Houghton hoping to send through Runnels, who, well, is maybe not quite likely to get onto a ball that far ahead. Sent through. Is there a way back in for FV Academy? This is Franku. Cross inside. Still the chances alive. Jugovic is the player who pulls the trigger. Well wide of the post though. And Alamein, as we tick past the hour mark, have this game very much where they want it. We will see some substitutions coming in for FV Academy. It's the end of the afternoon for Anika Doveston. As well as it looks like Jasmine Miller, as they make way for Kira Saris coming in for the remainder alongside Emmy Traynor, both getting their crack at this level. A couple of the younger contributors to this FV Academy senior lineup. Well one back though for the visitors. This is Franku. Ball sent inboard. There is one of the substitutes, Saris. O'Keefe now tries the 1-2 with Iaria, but Bujis, not for the first time this afternoon, read it well. Rutkowski from a long way out. And Alamein happy to watch that roll behind for a goal kick. Sense that these are the situations where FV Academy are most likely to get themselves back into this game, winning the ball back in the Alamein half. As we see, the press is applied. Jugovic trying to chase down Kate Bean. Shadara's pass puts Dustin under a bit of pressure. They weren't able though, FV Academy, to reclaim possession. Now Archdeacon is again giving chase as she looks to double her tally for this afternoon. That was well defended though by Emmy Traynor, and wins the throw as well. Just a little bit of exasperation from our central referee, Jugovic giving away the foul there. Asking her what else she could do in that position. And with that, Alamein will take the opportunity to make a substitution of their own. It's Dakota Tyson, who is withdrawn. And another of the former FV Academy, or FV Immersion, as it was then known, players, Matilda Laurie, is introduced for the remainder of this second half. Fairf leaves it for Dustin, who sends it through to the number 16 on the wing. Well marshalled by Franku. That's really solid defending from Alice Franku, but the result is nonetheless an Alamein corner. Fourth goal here would surely sew up the points. It's found its way through just about everyone out to the edge of the area where Laurie is waiting. Couldn't get the ball out from underneath her own feet, Matilda Laurie. Shilton up towards Runnels. He though shouts for handball. Jugovic has an opportunity for FV Academy. Turns onto her right, slipped as she got the shot away. Nancy Shadara giving her no space really to breathe. Traynor retreats to Biggs. On board to Franku. This is Tam. Along the deck to centre-back partner in Chelsea Biggs. And this is just about the longest uninterrupted spell of possession that Academy have been able to generate really for the whole game. And they have managed to earn themselves a foul as well. So in a really dangerous position, FV Academy. With an opportunity to maybe get themselves back into this game via a free kick. Won the score as things stand. But more than enough time for a couple of goals from FV Academy if they're good enough for it. So we see the council discussing who will be the player to attempt to beat Kate Bean from a long way out. Franku standing over it alongside O'Keefe. And looks as if Poppy O'Keefe will be the player to have a go. Will she go direct or perhaps look to pick out a teammate? It's the former option, but the Wall doing its job effectively. Houghton trying to keep the ball in play. It was solid defending though by Traynor, getting there and using her body to block it out of play. The sense that the urgency hasn't quite dropped off for Alamein just yet. They know that this result isn't sealed at 3-1 and they're still looking to spring forward on the counter when they get the chance. A fourth would give them that extra buffer to make things more comfortable. Westaway sends it out to the left-hand side. Yaria wasn't able to take control of the ball. Maybe we'll get another crack in a moment here though. The Alamein defence again standing up strong. Burgess hoofs it upfield towards Houghton. Still though, Academy continue to apply their pressure. Real display of composure from Emmy Traynor since being brought into this game. Despite dealing with some of the harder to defend players in NPLW Victoria. Zoe Houghton in particular, chasing her down often. And that long ball right into the gloves of Kate Bean. Franku pinching it back off the toes of Lefebvre. Looking for Jugovic, just a little bit too much on the pass. So with the sun ducking there behind the trees, makes things a little bit more straightforward in terms of visibility, but fair to say that the temperature's dropped another couple of degrees to go with it. Ball to release Houghton is a good one. Zoe Houghton, a chance to add another goal to her tally. A wonderful finish from Zoe Houghton. And Alamein have 4. Two goals on the afternoon for Alamein's pacey attacker, who has been a thorn in the side of FV Academy this season. That's her 3rd goal against these opponents in just 2 meetings, with time still to play as well. And you'd think that that will go a long way to sealing the 3 points for Alamein and sending them up to 2nd place on the NPLW ladder. That one pending the result of the Heidelberg-Burundara game, which kicked off around about 15 minutes ago. And in the end, Alamein looked to have proven to be just too strong for their young opponents. Put out a really good showing, particularly in that first half and even in spells in the second 45. But not possessing the cutting edge of their opponents, and Alamein are really all cutting edge. Their attacking threats don't need a lot of looks in. They don't need many looks at goal, Alamein, to hurt you, as we've seen this season. And can be really tough to break down at the other end as well. FV Academy have managed to do it once this afternoon, but the damage done at the other end may well prove to be a little bit too much. Runnels uses Clemenson. Well, we have our first yellow card of the afternoon. I think that one going to Poppy O'Keefe, perhaps, with some words shared with our referee. In any case, maybe some frustration for FV Academy, as that all too familiar story comes to the fore. A decent showing in patches. They've scored as well this afternoon, unable to deny the opposition often enough. And these 4 goals from Alamein, making it a real afternoon out. Not something that they've managed too often this season, despite all of their success, Alamein. To be fair, they did score 4 against both Essendon Royals and Brunswick UVA, so the 3rd time that they've scored 4 this campaign. Still more than enough time to add a 5th as well. And Alamein will look to their bench again. It's an early mark given to Emma Runnels. And a debut for Anna Leakopoulos in Alamein colours, accompanying Ash Lefebvre up to Dorothy Laver this mid-season, and is herself, of course, a former FV Academy player. John Kyrgios taking the opportunity to give some of the new faces a run. It's been a bit of a case of feast or famine on the goal scoring front for Alamein over the last couple of months. Look at their last 6 games. They've scored 0 goals in 3 of them. And in the other 3 they've managed 11. And then you add on this afternoon, takes them to 15. So when they score 1, the floodgates tend to open, perhaps. And it's that first goal which has proven to be their nemesis at times in the last few weeks. Not an issue this afternoon. Long ball over the top for Archdeacon. Scored the third goal of this game. Inboard to Lefebvre. Retreats to Laurie. Tilda Laurie, well hassled by O'Keefe, but found her way out. And looking to return it to Ash Lefebvre. Once more, the offside flag is raised. Well, having struggled maybe a bit more than you'd expect against some of the lower ranked teams in the last month or so, Alamein, they've got a real gauntlet of NPLW football to come over the next 4 or 5 weeks. The next 2 games are both away from home. First they head to Preston, then they head to South Melbourne. Following that, they're back here to host Bulleen before heading to the Village to take on Heidelberg. And then even to round it out, the next game after that is against Essendon Royals. It's fair to say that we'll find a lot out about Alamein in the next 5 or 6 weeks as they take on those teams with whom they're competing for final spots. Do also have their Nike Cup quarter-final in between all of that, not this coming midweek, but the one after. They'll head to the Ven to take on Bulleen. The Academy now making a couple of substitutions. And Ella Hamilton looks to be one of the players introduced. She stepped into the back line alongside Chelsea Biggs. And Cleo Angel, the other player, is Anti Escudero, who is introduced for the remainder of this contest. He's making full use of his bench. He looks to keep some of the energy high for FV Academy, trying to avoid any further damage being done. And the next substitution to come as well. It's the end of the afternoon for the scorer of our opening goal, Paige Clemenson. And she's replaced by Maximilia Costa, another of the new recruits brought in the off-season for Alamein. So with the results seemingly beyond doubt at this point, some personnel changes, there's a long-range attempt. And that was awkward for Charlotte Verhorrison, who had a better view than us of it, as it does indeed go off target and behind the goal. Just to finish that point from before, that Alamein could hardly ask for a more challenging next, let's say, 6 fixtures, twice against Bulleen, Heidelberg, South Melbourne, Royals as well, and a trip to Preston next on the agenda. That ball into the area is slightly awkward for Kate Bean, who did well to take control. FE Academy, they too have a real rough next couple of weeks to come. Next time out, they're back at the home of the Matildas, where they'll host South Melbourne before heading to the Village to take on Heidelberg themselves. So things not going to get a whole lot more straightforward for Antti Escudero's team. And a potential incident here as Zoe Houghton is brought down on her way back to goal. Just a slight suggestion that maybe there could have been worse consequences than ended up being the case for a potential last defender challenge. But it'll just be the yellow card for Ella Hamilton. And Zoe Houghton, who's proven to be a real difficult proposition to keep quiet this afternoon, once again doing some damage to the FE Academy defence. And it creates the opportunity for Neve Dustin to maybe add a fifth for Alamein as they look to score 5 for the first time this season. It's Dustin who fires on goal, catches a deflection and in. And Neve Dustin repeats the trick from the earlier meeting between these teams this season. And once again finds herself on the score sheet. Alamein make it 5. And this has turned into quite the celebratory afternoon for our hosts. A nightmare to deal with for Charlotte Horison. A deflection off the wall. And Alamein running over the top of their opposition right at the minute. Archdeacon trying to manufacture some space. Academy do well to send it clear. That goal for Dustin brings her level with Emma Runnels on 5 goals this season. Equal top scorers for Alamein. It's turned into a real party afternoon. Costa trying to send it into the area and will win her team a corner. So not just the 3 points, but Alamein looking like picking up a real boost to their goal difference tally as well. And when you consider how tight things are in that sense at the top half of the NPLW ladder, it will be much welcome for John Kyrgios and his team. Cross into the area, finds its way all the way past the defenders. In the end, behind for a goal kick. Houghton running onto the loose ball, back to Lefebvre. Cross inside, met by O'Keefe. Now Franco. You have to say, even with the scoreline having blown out somewhat in this second half, the intensity of the games remained more or less from the first minute. It has been high-octane football for just about 90 minutes. Even if Alamein have ended up having just that extra layer or two of quality. Who gets it back from Jugovic, now hoping for West away, being not interested in conceding any more than the one that she's let in so far this afternoon. So into the final handful of minutes this afternoon. Alamein setting themselves up for their toughest run of the season in perfect fashion, just about. 5 goals to their name. Scoring 5 goals this afternoon, Alamein, their highest tally in an NPLW fixture since, gotta go back to round 7 of last season. They only scored 5 or more once in that campaign. On that occasion they put 6 past Bentley. So these 5+ scoring games don't come around all too often for Alamein, but they're very much enjoying it this afternoon. They have themselves another corner from that far side. Ash Lefebvre, player heading on over to the flag. Sends it in again on the head of Horison, who did well, the goalkeeper, to punch it behind. And wins herself a foul in the process. So 90 seconds remain of regulation in this second half. Just a little bit of concern as well in the middle of the park now, right in the final few minutes. And Leakopoulos, a little bit just experiencing a bit of discomfort as she gets back to her feet, and we'll see out the remainder of this one. Really now just hunting for an extra cherry on top. Alamein. Coster thought about getting the shot away, does now. Into the gloves of Horison with a strong claim. And so we head into 2 minutes of second half stoppage time. The result very much having been decided long ago. Alamein running over the top of their young foes. Is there to maybe be some consolation though for Academy. Kai Jugovic meets the shoulder of Jess Shilton, who just out-muscles her opponent. Still the chances alive. O'Keefe goes with the left. Well blocked, and maybe the chance for Alamein to spring forward in one final counter-attack. Archdeacon will get onto this ball. She's tracked by Traynor. Gets around, does Archdeacon. That solid defending from Westaway. A really strong challenge comes in from Leokopoulos. Call from the back is for game management for Alamein as they look to see out this contest. Shidara lofting it towards Archdeacon. There's a bit of a mistimed clearance from Harrison. Just pause so that I think it's Clancy Westaway can get her shin guard back. Shidara up towards Dustin. Laurie loses out. Govich and Shilton resume their battle. And once more it's the experienced defender who wins out. And that is all the time that we'll have at Dorothy Labour West Reserve. Alamein too strong for FV Academy in the end. A really determined showing in that first 45 from the Academy team. They went behind a little bit undeservedly to a Paige Clemenson goal, pulled themselves back level right away through the early substitute Alice Francu. Then the goal just before half-time from Zoe Houghton, very much setting the tone for how the remainder of the match would go. Houghton grabbed herself a second, along with goals for Priya Archdeacon and Neve Dustin, as Alamein end up putting 5 past FV Academy, and depending on the rest of the results this weekend, could well end round 12 of NPLW Victoria up in second spot on the ladder. For FEU Academy, they'll look to regroup and go again, having won last time out. Still plenty to play for them, as they look to move away from the bottom part of the ladder. But that's all the time that we have from Melbourne's eastern suburbs. Full-time score at Dorothy Labour West Reserve, Alamein 5, FV Academy 1.